There's probably like 40 albums I'd say that, oh, that's a top 10 album.
Yeah, my
Like-
my top 10 hip hop list has 40 albums in it.
Luke, what do you got for me?
What is the greatest hip hop album of all time? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite, just what
Right.
is the best. It could be an influential album. The one I'm thinking of is, but
Yeah.
it didn't come out like in like the
Like-
golden age of like
Illmatic.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Illmatic is always talked about, obviously.
That's probably like
To
up
you,
there.
what do you think is the best? Don't be like, well, there's this. No, one album.
Don't be like, I know what you're gonna say for yours, so that's why I don't want to pick it. I'll go back to it all the time.
What do two white boys who grew up in the suburbs know about hip hop? Hip hop is for everybody. Wu-Tang is for the kids. Which brings me to my next point. The greatest hip hop album of all time is Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
How so, or how come, or why, or anything?
Well, wait, no, you
Like-
first have to tell me what you
Oh, mine.
pick.
Okay.
You agree with me, don't you?
I mean, I don't know if I could pick. I don't know what the best album. There's probably like 40 albums I'd say that, oh, that's a top 10 album.
Yeah,
Like-
my top 10 hip hop list has 40 albums in it. Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick. Then you get the underground like alternative Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul
Public Enemy.
and stuff. Yeah, then you got Public Enemy, everything
Where
that was
there's,
going NWA, all the
Cunning
West Coast.
Linguist and Outkast. They're like Southern, aren't they both Southern?
Yeah, but I don't think
Yeah.
Cunning Linguist would be up there as like greats of all time.
No,
they're very
they're
good, but they're not like
Lyrically good.
Cypress Hill. You got that stoner hip hop and stuff.
Schoolie D made gangster rap.
Gangstar. So do you just agree with me that it's Wu-Tang?
Yeah, it's probably up there. Illmatic might be better, but
Okay, so why would you think Illmatic is better?
just I don't know, storytelling and like how young he was when he made it. and-
Wu-Tang was all the same age when they made.
Yeah.
They were all 19 and 20 when they made.
Really?
Yeah, I've always thought that Wu-Tang Clan members were all in their 40s. They've been in their 40s for
40 years.
fucking 35 years.
Yeah.
But no, they were children when they made that album.
I do like the griminess of it though. Like
Yeah, like much like Nirvana. To me, Wu-Tang was that where they like changed the game for hip hop, but nothing else before or since to me has ever been on that level. Even other Wu-Tang albums aren't on the level of 36 Chambers.
no, that's their best album.
Yes.
Like it's weird. Like a lot of times, like artists their debut album will be their best album, and like
It's a curse. I mean, that was
Yeah.
with Illmatic.
yeah,
People-
Illmatic's his best, and
Yeah, but Nas has had a very good career since then. But there was that sophomore album curse.
some people think Nas is like the most consistent rapper ever. Like he always makes good stuff. Like no,
He might have weaker albums, but him as a lyricist and as a performer has always been like
'Cause
Nas is not.
I guess his new album's decent. That just came out like 2 weeks
King's
ago.
Disease too.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to all of it yet. I've heard some of the songs, and he sounds exactly like he did in '93 or '94 rather. I have an original pressing of Illmatic still in the cellophane as well, and I have them both framed, and I have them on a wall, and I put 36 Chambers hanging above Illmatic because it belongs there.
just because they changed the game.
Both albums did. 36 Chambers, much like Slipknot, 9 guys in a band should not work out well. But for Wu-Tang, it did. Like, everyone brought heat, and we're all distinct voices. They all sounded different. No
yeah,
one,
and they all had the different styles and everything.
yeah, it wasn't 10 dudes sounding identical to one another. It was everyone was unique, and then, like, they each had their time to shine on the album, except I think You God. He barely was on the album because he was in jail when they were recording it. So like he got out of jail and like did a verse on the album, and then like
Didn't Capadonna come on later? Like,
yeah. He was around for a long time up there. Like he was always there's like 50 artists associated with Wu-Tang, and so he was always around. But he would do stuff on like Raekwon solo stuff or whatever. But yeah, he did show up, and I think he is considered a member of Wu-Tang. But RZA was a genius with all of it. He was like, okay, what we do is we make 36 chambers, because he just knew, he's like, this is gonna blow everyone's fucking face off, and then all you guys are going to go off and make solo albums, and those are gonna blow up, and then we'll reform like Voltron and make another album together. They started the fucking formula that the MCU follows now. It was Wu-Tang in the
Right.
90s.
Was GZA's basic instructions before leaving Earth, was that his, Liquid Swords, was that like his first album solo or no?
No, GZA was the only one that had a full album, a solo album before 36 Chambers.
Okay. Because that's the only album I've heard of his. I've never really dug into his.
Yeah, he had an album before 36 Chambers, and then they did 36 Chambers, and then he made Liquid Swords, which Liquid Swords is another one that's top 10 hip hop albums of all time.
Because then like Method Man did like
Tikal.
Blackout.
Which also blew up. Ghostface did Iron Man.
And then he did
Raekwon did Only Built for Cuban Links, which was also with Ghostface on most of the album.
Who did Fish Scales?
Ghostface, but that was
Okay.
later. That was
Yeah.
another round of their solo albums. It's funny, they would have like albums would come out and they would sell like 600,000 copies in their first week, and like now we've never even heard of that album. And it's like if an album came out now and sold that much, it would be a worldwide phenomenon.
Right.
There's probably albums that are more influential, like Eric B and Rakim
Paid in Full.
was probably had maybe a more of an influence on the future of hip hop, or like Public Enemy with bringing more like political fire.
They were
to what
like
they're
probably
doing.
one of the more first like political hip hop.
Just like Rage Against the Machine wouldn't exist without Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Different genre, but still. But Wu-Tang, yes, it was influential for hip hop. It is just wall to wall bars. It's just dudes, all of them showing you their swords, and
Yeah.
they all have shiny fucking swords. This is very, very sexual.
The first time I listened through it, like there were like two songs I didn't really care for, but then like after you hear those songs more, you're like, yeah, these are like lyrically good.
Oh my god, yeah.
Get like Tears. It's
Oh,
like
Tears.
because it's like a slow song, so you're like, oh, it doesn't fit with the album, but then like it might be one of the deepest
It's like
verses. Like,
super emotional.
yeah,
And I read a book about Wu-Tang Clan written by RZA, and he explains there's a glossary in the book for all of Raekwon's slang terminology, because
Okay.
he's the one that uses the most like street slang in his rhymes. I grew up in the New York Times side, and what does that mean? It's like, oh, he lived in the neighborhood that had a lot of crime, so the New York Times was always reporting on shit that was going on in his neighborhood. I really was hoping you would disagree with me on it, but
I mean it is a good album.